Why is this evil man never talked about? In 1938, in the heart of the Great Depression, a man known as Stan Still haunted the back streets of New York City. Dressed in a fine black suit, with slicked back hair and a cold, unnerving smile, Mr. Still had a reputation that sent shivers down the spines of even the toughest criminals. It wasn't just his cruel nature, it was the mystery behind him. He was known for visiting families down on their luck, offering them help in exchange for a simple promise. Desperate, people took his deals without asking questions, but those promises came with a dark cost. One by one, the families would vanish without a trace. No blood, no struggle, just an empty home with a single black coin left on the table. What made it worse was that no one could describe his eyes. Everyone who met him could remember his smile, his voice, even the details of his polished shoes, but his eyes, blank. In 1949, a survivor came forward, an old woman who claimed she made a deal with him when she was just a girl. He promised to save her family if she gave up her voice for one night. The next morning, she awoke to silence, and her family was gone, never to be seen again. And though she never spoke again, she left behind one haunting message before disappearing herself: "He'll come for you when you least expect it." Why are they hiding this evil part of history? In the 1950s, in the deep hills of Arizona, there was a young woman named Rosemary. She lived with her sick mother named Abigail Marsh in a crumbling old house. Rosemary was super tall and had a condition that made her look like a mummy. The townspeople feared her. One day her mother's health took a turn for the worse, and she passed out. Rosemary quickly called the local doctor, Dr. Rick O'Shea, crying and making weird noises as she couldn't talk. The doctor happened to know them and managed to get to the house quickly, but by the time he was there, Rosemary's mother was already gone. Dr. O'Shea tried everything to revive her, but it was too late. He broke the news to Rosemary, but she refused to believe him. In her eyes, the doctor had failed her. Worse, she believed he was the reason for her passing. As the doctor tried to leave, she cornered him. She didn't use words, just raw, terrifying strength. The townspeople would later find his car abandoned outside, but the doctor was never seen again. Days later, the people of the area noticed something strange. Rosemary was seen wandering the streets wearing the doctor's white coat. She walked with a creepy smile into the forest, never to be seen again. This was the real-life Beauty and the Beast, and it ended in tragedy. In 1537, Petrus Gonzalez was born in Tenerife, suffering from hypertrichosis, a condition that left him covered head to toe in thick hair. Known as the Wolfman, he was taken as a curiosity and presented to King Henry II of France at the age of 10. For years, he endured life in the royal court, where he was treated as little more than an object of fascination. However, his life took a turn when he met Catherine, the daughter of a nobleman, who saw beyond his appearance and fell in love with his gentle nature and sharp intellect. They married in 1563 and had 7 children together, but their love was tested from the very start. A ruthless nobleman named Lord Thomas Moron could not bear to see a beautiful noblewoman with a man like Petrus. Obsessed with tearing them apart, he attempted to have Petrus locked away by spreading the belief that he was a danger to society. Normally calm and gentle, Petrus found the strength to stand up to Thomas in a heated confrontation. He delivered a passionate and moving speech defending his humanity and love for Catherine, temporarily silencing the court and winning some support, but their peace was short-lived. Humiliated and angry, Thomas Moron concocted a plan for revenge. He spread malicious rumors that eventually turned the court against Petrus. One fateful night, Thomas's men ambushed Petrus as he walked alone. Though Petrus fought valiantly, he was outnumbered and overpowered. As he lay dying, he whispered his beloved Catherine's name with his final breath. How did this woman massacre her entire town? In 1951, the small town of Willow Creek, Ohio, was a friendly place where everyone knew each other. One evening, a massive power outage plunged the entire town into darkness. As the rain poured down, families started lighting candles and waiting for the electricity to return. At the center of town lived Ella Veta, the town's friendly seamstress, making dresses for every family in town. Ella was known for her kindness and warm smile, but no one knew what she was really hiding. As the blackout dragged on, strange things started to happen. Houses were found with their doors wide open, and entire families disappeared without a trace. Panic spread through the town, but with no power, no one could call for help. When the lights finally flickered back on the next morning, the gruesome truth was revealed. Across the town, over 250 bodies were discovered in their homes, each one brutally butchered. Ella was sitting quietly in her small kitchen, stitching together pieces of fabric. But this fabric wasn't made of cloth, it was made of skin. When police arrived, Ella was calm. She uttered just one chilling sentence. "I was just finishing my masterpiece."
These identical twin sisters were pure evil. In the quiet town of Bloomsville in 1952, there were two identical twin sisters named Taylor and Dory. They seemed like ordinary, sweet girls, but behind closed doors, they were evil. One day, a new girl named Mary Jane moved into the neighborhood, and the twins grew jealous. Mary quickly became popular, and the attention shifted away from them. The twins didn't like that. One evening, they invited her to a tea party in the woods. The next day, Mary was reported missing. Weeks passed, and rumors began to swirl. The town grew suspicious, but no one could prove anything. Until one night, the twins' mother named Anaconda heard them whispering in their room. She pressed her ear against the door. What she heard sent chills down her spine. "We need another one. Mary wasn't enough." Terrified, their mother opened the door to confront them, only to find the room empty, except for two dolls on their beds. Identical dolls with the faces of her daughters, and a third one with Mary's face, staring right at her. The twins were never seen again. Some say they still live around the area in the forests, looking for their next victim.
This was the real-life Aladdin and Genie, and it was truly horrifying. In 1945, in Shaveport, Louisiana, a rich man named Alaric Danver gained a strange reputation. He could grant people's deepest wishes. Most people who came to him asked for money, and Alaric always delivered. They'd find their bank accounts full, but soon, something awful would happen. Slowly, their loved ones and family members began to disappear one by one. One day, a boy named Jimmy Neutron, who didn't care about money, asked Alaric to make him fly. Alaric, intrigued by the boy's wish, agreed. He created a pair of mechanical wings and strapped them to Jimmy's back. But as he jumped, the wings failed, and Jimmy plummeted to the ground. Alaric stood by, watching with a grin. This incident caused a public uproar, and the police raided his mansion. But what they found in his big basement was pure horror. It turns out he kidnapped the family members and made them work in gold mines, which would allow him to grant wishes for people. But when the police tried to arrest him, he said, "Genie weenie, take my beanie. I'm gone like Houdini," and disappeared forever.
This evil man caused 200 people to go deaf in one day. In 1952, in the small town of Virginsville, Arizona, there was a man named Dickon Balls. Dickon had very large ears, making him hear the drop of a needle 3 blocks away. He heard his neighbors mowing the lawn daily, the talkative woman that was always on the phone, and even the passionate couple across the street every night. He was always so quiet, but no one knew how deep his obsession with silence went. One summer day, Dickon set his twisted plan into motion. He tampered with the town's only radio tower, broadcasting a high-pitched frequency that only he could withstand. By noon, people started screaming in agony. Their ears bursted, and soon, nearly 250 people were left deaf by the end of the day. When police found Dickon in his home, he sat at his desk, surrounded by radios, listening to the deadly sound. He smiled as they arrested him and said, "The silence is beautiful, isn't it?" Later, investigators found journals filled with drawings of ears and notes such as, "If they won't give me silence, I will give it to them." The town never recovered, and locals say, on quiet nights, you can still hear the faint hum of that deadly sound. This man was terrifying during the Civil War. In 1861, during the Civil War, one man struck fear into soldiers from both sides. Brock Lee, known as the Axeman, lived alone on his Kentucky farm. In 1864, as battles raged nearby, soldiers frequently trespassed onto his land, trampling his fields. At first, Brock tried to warn them with a large "No Trespassing" sign, but when that didn't work, he took matters into his own hands. One fateful day, a group of soldiers led by their captain marched across his farm, ignoring the sign. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a pickaxe soared through the air, striking the captain and killing him instantly. The remaining soldiers scrambled in panic, racing for the exit, only to find the Axeman blocking their path. With a cold, menacing voice, he said, "Can't you read the sign? No trespassing." Those men were never seen again. As months passed, more soldiers began to disappear near Brock's land. Word spread quickly that the Axeman was no ordinary farmer. He didn't care what side of the war you were on. If you trespassed, you never left. By the time the war ended, locals believed over 200 people had died at the hands of the Axeman. In 2008, archaeologists visited the property, digging into the soil. What they uncovered was far more horrifying than anyone could have ever imagined.